A few weeks ago, I was privileged to stand in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv the very day when Israel's living hostages were released. Tens of thousands of Israelis gathered, Jews, Druze, Christians, and Muslims united not by politics, but by the primal hope that life would triumph over death. I stood among my Israeli cousins. Of course, in Israel, everyone is only 1 degree of separation away from someone who is taken or killed. My cousin Shani, only 20, lost her best friend, Noah Zander, at the Nova Music Festival. Noah was a radiant soul. She donated her hair to cancer patients. She worked with special needs children. She excelled as an athlete and a scholar and was prepared to get married. Her story is the story of a generation that loved to dance through life. Her light was extinguished at far too young an age. As I stood there with my cousins, the atmosphere could only be described as electric. I was thinking if an alien had descended from the heavens that evening, or if someone had emerged from a cave after years of isolation, they might have thought that the entire nation had just won the lottery. Each hostage released felt like the return of a family member. Tears flowed freely. Israeli and American flags waved proudly. The air trembled and resonated with songs of homecoming. And gratitude filled the air for our leaders, for our allies, for President Trump, and above all, for life itself. It was truly a proud moment to be an American. It struck me then that Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live, is not just a slogan or a song. It is in fact a declaration of faith, because against all odds, we choose life. This week's Torah portion, Chaye Sarah, opens with a profound story of homecoming as well, though of a different kind. Abraham, mourning his beloved Sarah, as we heard so beautifully described by Phoebe, negotiates to build a burial cave in Hebron, also known as Judea, or the West Bank, the Me'arat HaMachpelah. At first glance, this is simply a real estate transaction. But beneath the surface, it is one of the Torah's most enduring lessons about moral clarity, honesty, and belonging. Abraham tells the Hittites, Ger v'tashov anochi imachem. He says, I am a stranger and a resident among you. He asks only to buy a small piece of land to bury his wife, and Ephron, the landowner, as we heard, offers to give it to him as a gift, but make sure to announce that the true price is 400 shekels of silver. So Abraham could have accepted the offer, but instead he pays in full, quote, weighed out according to the merchant's standards. He insists that his family's claim to this land be found not on favors or on conquest, but on integrity. For me, the message is timeless. Our connection to the land of Israel was not taken, it was earned with honesty, transparency, and faith. In contrast to those who traffic in deceit and violence, Abraham's moral clarity sanctified the land itself. As the prophet Micah reminds us, what does the Lord require of you? Only to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik observed that in Abraham's paradoxical title, stranger and resident, he captures the essence of Jewish existence. Perhaps in the diaspora, we are to some extent strangers, outsiders, who contribute deeply to society, yet perhaps never fully belong. But in the land of Israel, the Jew becomes a resident, anchored physically and spiritually to the soil promised to Abraham's descendants. Yet even in Israel today, there are moments where one can feel like a stranger in their own home, caught between war and peace, between daily life and the burden of defending the country. On our recent Temple Emanu-El Stryker Center mission to Israel, our guide was a gentleman named Ronen, a reservist and a field intelligence officer. Ronen is in his mid-40s and served for 500 days in Gaza, returning home only briefly for very, very short periods of time. He shared with us that the hardest part was not just the daily missions that he was tasked to complete on the battlefield, but surprisingly, it was difficult for him to come home. Why? He had missed birthdays. He had missed holidays. He had missed the first days of school. His wife had become, by necessity, a single mother while trying to maintain a full-time job, raising their two young daughters amid sirens, running to shelters, and having to bear the burden of sleepless nights, all the while not knowing whether, in fact, her husband was okay, was he alive, was he injured, or, God forbid, was he dead? Ronen said something remarkable to us. He said, despite the hardships and despite the propaganda and misinformation, he sees an Israel that is perhaps even more united than ever. In his unit, Jews fought shoulder to shoulder with Druze, Bedouins, Christians, Ethiopians. For the first time in years, he said, we all felt like one family. The pain has forged solidarity. The darkness has clarified a new light. As we spoke, Ronen offered his own nechemta, his own words of comfort. He said, we will win because we love life. We fought not only so that we can live, but so that the peaceful, loving Palestinians too could have a better life. That sentence, that phrase, has stayed with me. It echoes the Torah's commandment, Uvacharta b'chayim, choose life so that you and your children may live. Unfortunately, terrorists glorify death, but we sanctify life, and that is why we endure. So when Abraham purchased the cave of Machpelah, he wasn't just buying a burial site. He was planting the seed of return. Centuries later, the act of integrity would echo throughout our history through exile and redemption until once again our people would stand in the land, building homes, raising children, singing songs of hope. Given the disgusting rise of anti-Semitism here in America, many of us feel woefully aware of what it feels like to be a stranger in our own home. Some of us may even feel abandoned by those who we thought were friends. We, the Jewish people, have historically stood up for our neighbors. We were there to champion civil rights. We were there for women's rights. We are there to champion LGBTQ+ rights. We are there for immigrants' rights. For a small population, I want to say that we have punched well above our civil service weight. So how could it possibly come to pass that in our time of need, our perceived friends are utterly silent? Now, more than I can ever remember in my life, we actually need to be supportive of Israel. Of course, our support includes the right to be critical. But in like a familial relationship, we can be critical and still remain committed. Israel is our only place on the world where we are guaranteed to be toshav, not ger, guaranteed to be a resident, not a stranger. Our forever home is a thriving, vibrant, inclusive Jewish homeland where we are Am Chovshi Ba'artzenu, a free people in our land, the land of Zion and Jerusalem. So standing in Hostage Square, I felt this interesting eternal rhythm, our collective heartbeat of return. As we sang and wept, I thought Abraham's purchase was not just about owning land. It was about owning our destiny. We have always been a people who, even in the darkest moments, remember that home is not merely a place. It's a covenant, a promise between God and us that life will triumph and that light will return and that love is stronger than hate. So in this Shabbat, may we, like Abraham, live with moral courage and humility. May we, like Ronan, our guide, hold faith that unity can rise from pain. May we, like Phoebe, find beauty and possibility in seemingly dark, dank, and dreary places. And may we, like Noah Zander of blessed memory and her generation, continue to choose life over and over again, turning our mourning into dancing. Am Yisrael Chai. ארצי נחלותינו, לא תיפול כורת רוחנו, מסביב ברזל של חרבות. ויונה תפרוס כנפיים, התקווה בת שנות 2000, ונצא לשיר ברחובות. כי עם הנצח לעולם לא מפחד, אפילו כשקשה לראות. כולם ביחד, אף אחד פה לבודד, ויחד נאסוף כוחות. עם ישראל חי, אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות ביחדים. עם ישראל חי, ולהיות בירדות גם בשעות הכי קשות. Oh, 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 Am Yisrael, oh, 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 Am Yisrael Chai. Though our hearts were filled with sorrow, we've seen a new tomorrow, and the shining sun has filled the sky. We will all lay down our fears, hoping for 2,000 years. Soon the dove will spread her wings on high. Our eternal nation, Israel, will never fail. We're all together, no one is alone. The Holy One has brought his blessings to us all. And now that our dear ones have come home, Am Israel, we stand here proudly, we are one and we are strong. Am Israel, because our spirits are united in our faith and in our song. HaKadosh Baruch Hu shomer aleinu, az mi yachol aleinu, ki ein lanu od medina. Taseh shalom aneinu, shmor hayeladenu, ki lo ahavta emunah. Oh, 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 Am Yisrael, oh, oh, oh.